My Chow glasses, that was kind of thought out just because I asked Blizzard for permission and stuff to do it, which was pretty fun, but yeah.
Muma, thanks so much for joining me, and congratulations on a really definitive 4-0 victory and decisive victory. So to start off, I want to talk about a little bit about some of the changes we've seen to your guys' entrances. The Overwatch League is no stranger to meme kind of entrances, but Houston has always looked confident in the game, but more and more we're seeing that confident strut and attitude on stage and during your entrances. Can you tell me a little bit about the progression of your on-stage like personas, if you will?
We basically never really talk about how we're going to act on stage or like the walkouts that we're going to do. Every walkout we've done has been really like spur of the moment, like we're in the backstage and we're just like, hey, we have a cowboy hat, let's throw it on, or hey, we have some funny looking glasses, let's throw it on. My Chow glasses, that was kind of thought out just because I asked Blizzard for permission and stuff to do it, which was pretty fun, but yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Kachow glasses, where they came from, what was the idea behind them? Is this a meme from either your Twitter or your stream or something?
I've had the Kachow meme, it's been a thing on my Twitch stream for a while now. I have an emote named after it, and I used to have 2 emotes named after it. But it's just a little meme. One of my friends came to one of our matches and she actually gave me the Kachow glasses and was like, "Do with these what you please." And I was just like, "I know exactly what I please to do with these." And so it was a good for an entrance, you know, very memey like me.
Nice. Now tell me, if they hadn't been confiscated by that referee, would you have worn them all game?
Not a chance. You can hardly see through them. Could not see a thing.
Fair enough. So Houston is arguably the most high-profile Western team. Do you feel any added pressure when you're up there to represent more than just your team or your hometown, but the West in general?
Yeah, I definitely. I think that one of my favorite things about our team is that currently we are the only team without a Korean now. So I definitely feel like we have a bit more of a responsibility to prove that the West is just like, it doesn't have to be worse than Korea and stuff. So yeah, I feel a little bit of added pressure, but I mean, it's still, it's not significant, you know, like yeah.
Fair enough. So while Houston hasn't seen any of these big dramatic roster changes we've been seeing all along stage 2, we've been seeing a lot more Boink and Clockwork. So how has incorporating those two so regularly into the lineup affected your practice and your prep?
We've actually taken a pretty different approach in terms of scrims recently, about actually making sure that like all our subs see playtime and like being more fluid with our roster. During the beginning of early stage 1, or during like preseason mostly, people were very critical about like the way we were doing our roster swaps, and I think we kind of let it get to us too much. And then like for the remainder of stage 1, we ran like a very steady roster. But as like we've started to struggle a bit more in stage 2, we are beginning to think that like it's not as important to have that steady roster, and instead just have like the players that are like the best for the map, regardless of just like synergy, and that's what we should scrim, just to keep everyone, you know, their skills keen and actually like playing with the team as well.
Of all the new acquisitions across all the teams in the league, who are you most nervous or excited about playing against?
Most nervous or most excited? I really like the Dragons pickups. I think they will help a lot. I think it'll be a bit of a struggle because of the language barrier, but I think the 3 of them will help a lot. And I think in terms of like the most potential, I think the Mayhem's pickup pickup will certainly be helping them a ton. I think Mayhem has always been like a super underrated team, and I think that these new pickups are like really going to send them on the up.
So stage 2 has seen the competition in the league get a lot closer. Mayhem are taking more games, San Francisco with you guys last week, the Gladiators against London. What do you think is the root of all these improvements that we've seen in some of the lower half teams, as well as some of the struggles that we've seen from the top teams last stage?
I don't think it's necessarily like people being really close to each other now. Like, I think people were super duper close stage 1. I think it's that certain heroes are falling out of meta and certain heroes are coming into meta, and then there's players who are like a lot better on those heroes. Like, for example, you have like Zebosai, who's like really good at Lucio, who's helping that team a lot now. And I mean, our team with like Junkrat falling out of favor and stuff.
Considering how different stage 2 looked compared to stage 1, Do you think we're going to see similar changes in Stage 3, and are the standings going to get rocked up a bit?
I would say so. I think that the shift you've seen during this stage from last stage is probably going to be more drastic than the shifts for like the next stages, just because this is like the first time that teams have had to go through the shift. So some teams where it took longer for them to really adjust to the shift than others. But now that they have the experience of what it's like to have to shift, I think that it'll be different in the next stages. I still think there's going to be like some shift as like new heroes come into meta and stuff, but I think it'll be a lot less than you saw this stage.
Excellent. So I want to talk to you about your stream for a minute. Many players, professional players especially, are approached by fans asking for advice or tips. How do you go about handling these kind of requests, and what kind of advice do you like to give?
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up. That's probably one of my least favorite questions that I get asked on stream, just because it's so general, and this game is just so intricate, and there's so many different strategies and stuff that like I literally have a paste bin that I have in my stream where it just basically says that like the best tip that I can give you is to practice. And I think that something that a lot of people get stuck on is they really care about their SR, and they just kind of need to pay less attention to it and disregard it as much, because at the end of the day, it's just a number, and like your skill level can't actually be like defined by just a number. So I tell people that if they just ignore it and just focus on the only thing that they can actually change in a game, which is themselves, you'll see like improvements in your own play, and over time you'll see that SR go up.
As somebody who lives and breathes Overwatch as a career, what are some of your pet peeves when you play with randos casually or on ladder?
Pet peeves. I've learned to not really get upset about one tricks and people playing off meta heroes as much anymore, just because there's really nothing you can do about it. But I think the thing that frustrates me the most are when people are like calling a lot, and you like start to call as well and like try to help them, and they take the criticism and they take it in a very critical way. And when you say like, hey, next time maybe you should do this, and even if you say it in a polite way, sometimes people can be offended by that and like leave voice channel or like switch shears and start to throw. And it's crazy that it still happens at like my SR level, but it does, and it's always very frustrating.
Fair enough. So what we talked a little bit about your receiving questions about tips and tricks and stuff. What's your favorite kind of questions or fan engagement to receive on stream?
I always, I mean, kind of sappy, but I always enjoy like the, hey Muma, you and the Outlaws have helped me through a tough time, or helped me really become more of myself, because I know before I started like being on the up on like social media and stuff, I looked up to a lot of streamers, and I know I watched like a lot of streams and relied on a bunch of like higher up social media people to really like brighten my day and stuff. And knowing that like people type that to me and like actually feel that way about me is super cool, because I know that like I know the positive effects that people can have on like social media streamers and Twitter users and stuff. I know how big the effects that they can have on people are. So seeing that I'm having that effect on people is like, it's crazy. It's something that it's super crazy.
Awesome. So the fan engagement with all the Houston players and their fans has been really fantastic since the start of the season. But is there any kind of message or thing that you don't feel like is communicated enough to fans, any kind of sentiment at all, really, that you'd like to take the opportunity to express to anybody that might be watching?
I mean, this might seem a little odd, but a lot of people when they speak to me, they speak to me as if I'm like some sort of like being that's above them or whatever, and I'm really not. Like I'm just a person. I just play Overwatch. Like if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So I'm in no way above you, you know. Like if people message me on Discord and stuff, and I always reply and stuff, and it's just like they're like, oh my god, I'm freaking out, I can't believe you'd reply to me, and it's just like we're the same. Like if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. So it's the least I can do to pay it back, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Just to close out, what has been your favorite live fan experience?
Oh, that is a tough one. My favorite. People bring me stuff pretty frequently. One of my subscribers on my stream, she painted a Winston on Eco Point Antarctica with like, she asked me like what a bunch of my favorite things were. There was like little penguins, which are my favorite animals. One of them was wearing an FNRGFE corn dog t-shirt, which was my old team. There was a Houston Outlaws flag, and she brought it to the signing and gave it to me, and it was, I mean, I haven't hung it up yet, but it's still above my fireplace, and I'm just waiting to get the time to hang it up. But it was super cool. You could see how much time she's put into it, and it was like super cool that she would give it to me.
Excellent. Hey, Muma, thanks for your time. Before we go, just any final shout outs or anything you'd like to give?
Thank you for supporting us. We really would just be nowhere without you guys, and I think that we are adjusting to this meta a little bit more, and I am hopeful that we will start to become the team that we know we can be again.
Check out our website at AkshonEsports.com to stay up to date on the latest matches, highlights, and more. From scores, match history, and specific game info, we've got you covered for all things Overwatch esports. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out our channel for more action-packed content. Also, like and share this video, and click the subscribe button to join our notification squad. Thanks for watching.